The next topic that we are going to delve into is called system analysis and design.
Why did the system analyst break up with his girlfriend? He realized he was in a dysfunctional relationship. What did the system analyst say to the user? You're the root cause of the problem. Why do system analysts love data flow diagrams? Because they're always flowing with ideas. Why did the system designer go to therapy? He was struggling with architecture issues. What do you call a system designer who's always making mistakes? A designer with a few bugs in a system. Why did the system designer quit his job? He couldn't handle the pressure of designing systems that worked. Why did the SDLC model go to therapy? It had a lot of phases to work with. What did the SDLC model say to the developer? You're always coding, but are you testing? Why did the SDLC model get fired? It kept repeating the same phase over and over. Why did the UML diagram go to the party? Because it was a class act. What did the UML diagram say to the developer? You're not following the class diagram. Why do UML diagrams make great partners? They're always classy. Why did the database administrator get invited to all the parties? Because he is always relational. What did the database say to the user? You're always querying me. Why did the database go to therapy? It had a lot of schema issues. Why do system analysts love documentation? Because it's always well structured. What do you call a system analyst who's always organized? A structured individual. Why did the system analyst become a baker? He needed the dough. Why do system analysts make great detectives? They're always analyzing clues. What do you call a system analyst who's always happy? A system that's well designed. Why did the system go to the doctor? It had a virus. What did the system say to the user? You're always inputting the incorrect data. Why did the system analyst go to the gym? To pump up his system's performance. Why do system analysts love puzzles? Because they're always solving them. What do you call a system that's always down? A system that's having a bad day. Why did the system analyst quit his job? He didn't get a raise. Why do system analysts love coffee? Because it's always brewing. What do you call a system analyst who's always calm? A system that's well balanced. Why did the system analyst become a musician? He loved systematics. Why do system analysts love solving problems? Because it's their system's default mode. Let's dive into the requirements gathering phase. We need to identify the functional and non-functional requirements. The system needs to be scalable and flexible. The architecture of the system is crucial for its performance. We need to design a user-friendly interface. The system should be able to handle a large volume of data. We are currently in the development phase. The testing phase is critical to ensure the system's quality. We need to follow the SDLC methodology. Let's create a class diagram to visualize the system's architecture. The use case diagram helps us understand the system's functionality. The system diagram shows the interaction between objects. The system is going live next week. We need to ensure the system's security and integrity. The system should be able to handle user input effectively. We need to perform regular system maintenance to ensure its stability. The system requires updates and patches to fix bugs. We should monitor the system's performance regularly. We need to evaluate the system's performance metrics. The system's ROI, or the return on investment, is impressive. We should conduct a cost-benefit analysis. The system should be user-friendly and intuitive. We need to consider the system's scalability and flexibility. The system's architecture is critical to its success. We should follow best practices in system development. Systems documentation is essential for future maintenance. We need to ensure the system's compatibility with different platforms. The system's security features are top-notch. We should conduct thorough testing to ensure the system's quality. The system's performance is optimal. Why did the system analyst go to the doctor? He had a virus in his code.
System analysis and design is about building software systematically. It's how raw requirements become working systems. So the next step that we have is essentially called the SDLC, or what we call as the software development lifecycle.
Why did the system say to the user, you're always inputting incorrect data?
So primarily in SDLC, there are 6 steps.
Why do system analysts love puzzles? Because they're always solving them. What do you call a system that's always down? A system that's having a bad day. Why did the system analyst quit his job? He didn't get a raise. Why do system analysts love coffee? Because it's always brewing. What do you call a system analyst who's always calm? A system that's well balanced.
So first is called planning. Next is this.
Why did the system analyst become a musician? He left systematics. Why do system analysts love solving problems? Because it's the system's default mode. What did the system analyst say when his code didn't work? It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Then we have the next, which is called analysis. So analysis. Then we have design. Then there is implementation. Then you have testing. And then there is maintenance. So these are primarily the 6 steps that are in the software development lifecycle. Next, we move on. So like building a house. First plan, then design, and then construct. So the next part is called requirements analysis.
Why did the system analyst go to the therapy? He had a lot of glitches. What do you call a system that's always crashing? A system with a lot of downtime. Why do system analysts love documentation? Because it's always well documented. What did the system say to the user? You're always asking me to do something I don't know how to do.
So an example of requirement analysis is called library management system, or LMS. System, right? We gather user needs. Example, librarians want search, issue, and return modules. The next step is called design tools.
Why does a system analyst become a chef? He loves cooking up new solutions. What do you call a system that's always slow? A system with a lot of latency. Why do system analysts love meetings? Because they are always discussing solutions. What did the system analyst say when his code worked? It's a miracle. Why did the system analyst go to the gym? To pump up his system's performance. What do you call a system that's always secure? A system with a lot of safeguards. Why did the system analyst quit his job? He couldn't handle the pressure of meeting deadlines. What do you call a system that's always available? A system with a high uptime. What do system analysts love problem solving? Because it's their bread and butter.
So a data flow diagram could be something like this. So for example, we have this, and so we have box, and there's another box, right? We have this. There's another box. So now close here like this. Yes. So here the first step in any design tool is called external entity. Then we have the process. So it's basically going to be 0, 1. And this is the process. This is the first process. This is called data flow. Then you have the second one, which is called data source, data store. Here also, again, this is DF, data flow. This is again DF. And you have 0, 2, which is again a process. Then you have a DF again. Then you have data store here. And finally, again, a process. So this is what we have. Design tools like DFD and ER helps visualize data and processes. Next, we move on to a case study example. So case study example. So for example, we have a case study for online shopping cart. So this is a mini case study where we have online shopping cart. Right? So what are some of the steps that you can think of when it comes to the whole shopping process? So firstly, I can say that the customer first browses. So customer browses. The next step would be to add adds to the cart. So basically adds the item to the cart. Next step would be checkout, right? So we check out. Then we have payment. And then confirmation. So these are the 5 steps when it comes to the case study example. So the next step is basically the final topic is recap and close. So we'll just recap here. Recap and closing. So system analysis and design helps us move from requirements to design and to building a real system. This is crucial for IT projects and exams. Thank you.